Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nittang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Hare Krishna. Today also a different shloka selected by Gauranga Prabhu. And today's verse is from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th chapter. Narada's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam, text 29. Tasaivam me anuraktasya prashritasya hetaina saha Sraddadhanasya balasya dantasyanucharasya cha tasyaivam menu raktasya prashritasya hitaina saha Shraddadhanasya balasya dantasyanucharasya cha. R-A, yeah. Me, raktasya. Who wrote it? Huh? You wrote it. Then who wrote it? Raktas, anuraktasya.
One A is extra.
Me nu rak R-A. Yeah, right. It's all right. I hope everybody can figure out. Tasyaivam menu raktasya prashritasya hataina saha Shraddadhanasya balasya dantasyanucharasya cha Tasyaivam menu raktasya prashritasya hataina saha Shraddadhanasya balasya dantasyanucharasya cha Tasya, his, evam, thus, me, mine, anuraktasya, attached to them, prashritasya, obediently, hata, freed from, ena saha, sins, shraddadhanasya, of the faithful, balasya, of the boy, dantasya, subjugated, anucharasya, strictly following the instructions, cha, all and. I'm sorry, and. I was just about to say also. So, Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated by their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. Please repeat after me. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior. And all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. These are the necessary qualifications. No, I was just looking for the tissues actually. It's all right. These are the necessary qualifications of a prospective candidate who can expect to be elevated to the position of a pure, unadulterated devotee. Such a candidate must always seek the association of pure devotees. One should not be misled by a pseudo-devotee. He himself must be plain and gentle to receive the instructions of such a pure devotee. A pure devotee is completely surrendered soul unto the personality of Godhead. He knows the personality of Godhead as the supreme proprietor, and all others are his servitors. And by the association of pure devotees only, one can get rid of all sins accumulated by mundane association. A neophyte devotee must faithfully serve the pure devotee, and he should be very much obedient and strictly follow the instructions. These are the signs of a devotee who is determined to achieve success even in the existing duration of life. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Jutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tvang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapto Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Tasyaivam menu raktasya prashritasya hatoina saha shraddadhanasya balasya dantasanucharasya cha. I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. So, who is saying that? Narada's, the chapter is entitled as Narada's instruction on Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Narad Muni, out of his causeless mercy, went to Vasudev. Narad Muni is traveling throughout the universe, and wherever he sees a deserving candidate, Narad Muni just goes there and helps him. So this is how we can see that in Srimad Bhagavatam, practically all the exalted personalities, exalted devotees of the Lord, at some point or other in their lives, they receive the mercy of Narad Muni. Narad Muni is the giver of Narayan, the giver of the Supreme Personality of God. So here also we see that Vasudev was feeling despondent after compiling various scriptures, after compiling the Vedas in a very, very systematic way for the people of this age of Kali. He divided the Vedas, he then classified the Upanishads, and he wrote the Samhitas, the Dharma Shastras, and he wrote Mahabharat for less intelligent people. And he also gave the Vedanta Sutra, which is actually the essence of the entire Vedas. Vedas anta, the end of the Vedas. The Vedas actually end in the Vedanta, which is the very systematic aphorisms of the Vedas. But still Vasudev was feeling discontent in his heart. He was feeling that the job hasn't been properly done. What he wanted to do, he actually wanted to simplify the spiritual knowledge given in the Vedas for the less intelligent, unfortunate, lazy, and constantly afflicted living entities of the age of Kali. That is the condition of the living entities of the age of Kali. Prayanal payusha sabhya kalavashmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayo manda bhagahi upadruta. Jai Shri Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki, Srila Sandipani Muni ki, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Lalita Vishakha Devi ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So, Narad Muni, Vasudev, in spite of doing so much, like he is actually the literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vasudev appeared as an empowered incarnation to accomplish a very, very special mission. And what is that special mission? The special mission is to systematically present the Vedic wisdom. And how and for whom? The most unqualified people. It's like giving the Vedas to a bunch of illiterates. The condition of the living entities in the age of Kali is even worse than illiterate persons. At least the illiterates are illiterates, but they are not lazy and they are not puffed up. They're illiterate, but they're puffed up. They think they know everything. Manda sumanda matayo. Their mati is manda. The mentality is completely crooked, completely demented. The people's condition of this age of Kali. And on top of that, they're mandabhagya hi upadruta. They're very unfortunate people in this age. They're here just to suffer. And upadruta, they're constantly troubled by different calamities of material nature. So for them, Vyasdeva was trying to give the most exalted spiritual wisdom. And he tried his best. He did everything according to his understanding. But still he was feeling very discontent in his heart, sitting in Shammaprash on the bank of Saraswati river, Badarikashram. And at that time Narad Muni just appeared to him. And Narad Muni told him, "So, Vyasdev, how are you feeling? How did you find, how does it feel to identify with the gross body and the subtle body? How does it feel to identify with the body and mind?" And then he told him, advised him that the way you are feeling is because you haven't glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why did Narad Muni ask Vyasdev, how are you feeling identifying yourself with the body and mind? Because what Vyasdev gave so far was actually meant for the Vedic aspect that are meant for gross body and subtle body. Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. Karma Kanda is designed for the gratification of the gross body, and Jnana Kanda is for the subtle body. But what about the spirit soul? And in this way he pointed out that you totally disregard the spirit soul. And what does the spirit soul want? Does the spirit soul want dharma, artha, kam, moksha? No. The spirit soul simply wants service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The spirit soul simply wants to sing the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. What about that? So he pointed that out to Vyasdev, and in this way he asked him to describe the pure and unalloyed glorification of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, which he received from his father, Lord Brahma. And Lord Brahma received from the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, which actually was revealed in his heart. Tene brahmarhida adi kavaye muyhanti jatsuraya. And then Narad Muni started to describe that how he received this knowledge, how he became qualified. He went even before becoming the son of Brahma, in his previous life. And in this life he is Narad Muni, the son of Brahma. But in his previous life, Narad Muni started to describe that he was the son of a maidservant. Actually, in Vedic culture, that is the lowest kind of a birth. To be born out of a Sudra parentage. So Narad Muni was apparently born in a low family. So this also indicates that birth is not important. When it comes to devotional service, then birth is not important. The engagement in devotional service is the most important consideration, and anyone has the right, liberty to become engaged in devotional service. Anybody. And when one becomes engaged in devotional service, that is to be considered the highest situation. Aho bato sapacho ato gariyan jajjibhagre vartate namatubham. That even a shawpacha means a dog eater, chandala. Actually, even worse than a dog eater is a cow eater. But now we are seeing, actually in the Vedic culture, they didn't mention about the cow eater. That was hopeless situation. But now we can see that even the cow eaters are becoming delivered by Prabhupada's mercy. In the Vedic culture, the dog eaters are considered to be the lowest. And there was no consideration that anybody can ever eat the meat of the cows. But that's how degraded the society has become in the age of Kali. And but when one takes to Krishna consciousness and sings the glory of the Lord, on whose tongue the holy name of the Lord dwells. Jajjibhagre, jivbhagre means at the tip of the tongue. Vartate means is situated. Namatubham, your holy name. Krishna's holy name. So that is the highest situation for a living entity. Why? Because that is the situation, that is the platform of pure spiritual situation. That's in that platform, the spirit soul is situated in its pure condition, in its pure state. So Narad Muni was a son of a Shudra in his previous life, and it goes even beyond that. He was a Gandharva named Upabarhan, and he was cursed that he would be born in a Sudra family. And he was born in a Shudra family, son of a maidservant. But fortunately, he had the association of the saintly personalities during the time of Chaturmash. Chaturmasha, the 4 months are the 2 months of rainy season and 2 months of autumn. Not exactly autumn, Sharad. In the West, they have 4 seasons. But in India, there are 6 seasons. In the West, there is only summer, autumn, winter, spring. But here, on top of the summer, autumn, winter, spring, we have 2 seasons. There is Varsha and Sharad. Monsoon and after monsoon. Generally, autumn is the season when leaves fall. But Sharad is the season which is the most beautiful season actually. The 2 seasons are most beautiful. One is spring, Vashanta, and the other is Sharad. Sharadudashaye sadhu jata sat. Krishna, the gopis are describing the lotus that blooms in the Sharad season in the lake. Actually, Sharad is the time, and the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam also describes very extensively about the beauty of Sharad season. And it has described that in monsoon, Varsha, the water becomes muddy due to the rain. And all the reservoirs of water become filled up. But the water becomes muddy in the reservoirs of water. The places become muddy. You can't really walk because it becomes muddy. The clay, the earth becomes soggy with water. But after that comes the Sharad season, when the whole atmosphere becomes very serene, very beautiful. The sky becomes clear during the monsoon, the sky is always overcast with clouds. But when those clouds have become exhausted after the rain, then the sky becomes clear, blue, and some scattered clouds that looks like cotton wool float in the sky. The rays of the sun becomes golden. The dirt in the water sediments settles and the water becomes clear. So that is one of the most beautiful seasons. And in these two seasons, Krishna actually performs his rasa dance. One is Vasanta Ras, and the main rasa dance is actually Sharadiya Ras in the autumn season. And that's why Srimad Bhagavatam describes the effect of monsoon, and then after monsoon is the effect of Sharad season. So the Bhakti Vedantas, the saintly exponents of the Vedantas, were residing. During that time, the saintly people don't travel. During the monsoon and during the Sharad season, they just stay at one place. Now we are actually in the middle of the Chaturmash, and the last month will be Kartik. Like there are 6 seasons: Grishma, Grisha, Varsha, Sharad, Hemanta, Sheet, Vasanta. And then Ashar, Shravan, Shravan and Bhadra are the 2 seasons. The Ashar, it starts, Shravan, Bhadra, and Ashwin and Kartik. These are the last 2 months of and Kartik is the last month of the Chaturmash, when everybody wants to go to Vrindavan and perform Chaturmash, or Mayapur, a holy place. And so Narad Muni's mother was serving them, these Bhakti Vedantas. And Narad Muni, as a little boy, he used to hang out with them. And one day, with the permission, Narad Muni took their remnants. And by taking their remnants, he became completely free from all his sinful reactions. And he actually developed a deep attachment to those saintly personalities. And he would just like to be with them and listen to them, discussing about the glory of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's what Narad Muni is describing. That I was very much attached to those sages. And what was Narad Muni's qualification? He was not like other frivolous, naughty boys. He was a very special boy, actually. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. So these are the qualifications these are the prerequisites for spiritual life. If we want to take to spiritual life, we have to become serious. And these are the qualifications. That Narad Muni was gentle in his behavior. He was not frivolous, he was not naughty, he was not fickle, he was not a rascal. Simple words. And his sins were eradicated. That is also another thing. One of the qualifications to enter into spiritual life is that we have to become free from our sinful reactions. Anagha, that he has to become free from sinful reactions. Because if one is sinful, then he cannot practice, he cannot become serious about spiritual life. Prior to accepting spiritual life, one may be sinful. But after accepting spiritual life, one has to become sinless. And how does one become sinless? By serving the devotees of the Lord. Although Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says that Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja Aham Tvang Sarva Papebhyo Moksha Ishyami. I will deliver you from all your sinful reactions. But in between there is a catch. That catch is that how do we surrender to Krishna? Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Braja. Although Krishna is saying that Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja, surrender unto me, but how does one surrender to Krishna? That Krishna did not tell. But that has been very, very clearly explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. To surrender to Krishna, we have to surrender to a devotee. Does it ring the bell? Didn't Krishna say that those who consider that they are my devotees, they are not my devotees? Those who are my devotees, they are my devotees. So to become surrendered to Krishna, to become a devotee of Krishna, we have to first surrender to a devotee of Krishna. And here Narada Muni is pointing that out. All my sins were eradicated in their service. Because I served them, all my sins were eradicated. And in my heart, I had strong faith in them. The faith in these exalted devotees is absolutely essential. And I was strictly following them, and I had subjugated my senses. We can't come to a spiritual platform and maintain our sense gratification. Well, some sense gratification is there. Once Prabhupada told me that make sure that the devotees get nice prasad. And then Prabhupada said, that's the only sense gratification they have. That's the only sense gratification that the devotees have. So, and ultimately, of course, through Krishna consciousness, we experience the real sense gratification. Not material sense gratification, the gratification of our gross senses, but gratification of our spiritual senses. The heart. The heart becomes completely satisfied. So, through this, Narad Muni is indicating the process of becoming situated on devotional service, spiritual platform. We have to become surrendered to the devotees of the Lord. And in the purport, Prabhupada made that point very clear, that how we have to become surrendered to the devotees in order to make advancement in spiritual life. And it works. It works in the most wonderful way. Like one may wonder, like we are serving the devotees, then how are you going to make spiritual advancement? How are you going to develop our attachment to Krishna? It works in this way. The devotees are agents of Krishna. Devotees are the agents of Krishna. And Krishna makes all his transactions through his agents. Those of you who are involved in business or in the corporate world, You know how the businesses are conducted, big businesses. The big businesses are conducted through their agents. Like Sony. The company is in Japan, but in Bombay they are the agents. Sony's agents are there in Bombay. And when you want to buy a MP3 or a camera or a tape recorder or even a computer, what do? You just go to the agent. And you deal through the agent. And this is how Sony deals. You may write directly to Sony, but the Sony will not be interested. What will Sony say? Oh, you're in Bombay? Okay. Our agents are there, just next to your Chowpatty temple. Just go to them and buy it from there. So similarly, Krishna also deals through his agents, and his agents are his devotees. So if you want to deal with Krishna, deal with his devotees. If you want to surrender to Krishna, surrender to his devotees. And Krishna is omniscient. Krishna knows what is happening. And when Krishna sees that you are surrendering yourself to a devotee of Krishna, an agent of Krishna, then Krishna considers, oh yeah, he is a sincere soul. He is a deserving candidate. So, I'll bestow my mercy upon him. And that is how Krishna actually acts. And there is another way of looking at it also. Prabhupada pointed that out time and time again, that Krishna is actually the property of his devotees. In one hand, the devotee is the agent of Krishna, but another way to look at it is that the Krishna is a property of his devotees. Krishna she tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomaro shakoti ache. Krishna is your property, therefore you can give Krishna. You have that power because he is your property. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also elaborated on that point in his Madhurya Kadambini. At the beginning of Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining how does one receive bhakti. And through various questions and counter questions, he is actually establishing that Krishna doesn't give devotion. Krishna himself doesn't give devotion. He's actually making a very wonderful point that if Krishna gives devotion to somebody and he doesn't give to somebody else, then Krishna will be blamed for being partial or biased. But Krishna is neutral. Krishna is completely neutral. He is not favoring anyone, nor is he disfavoring anyone. He is not favoring anyone, nor does he disregard anyone. He is equipoised. He is equally disposed to everyone. But Krishna's devotees, they are partial. Devotees are partial. And the devotees, they give, who they like, they give devotion to them. Krishna's favor to them. Therefore, the way to receive devotion, bhakti, is only through a bhakta, through a devotee. A devotee bestows devotion to a devotee. He also will not give it to a non-devotee. Therefore, the main consideration is bhaktya, devotional service, by devotional service, through devotional service. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Only through devotion can one get to know me, only through devotion can one get me. But then how to get devotion? The devotion can be achieved only from a pure devotee, bhakta. Therefore, the devotional service, the process of devotional service is to become a devotee of the devotee, not a devotee of the Supreme Personality of God. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's point is declaring, Gopi Bhartu Padu Kamalayo, Dasho Anudashu Dasho Shmi. That he is not he is not desiring to become the Das of Krishna. He is not desiring to become Krishna Das. He is simply wanting to become the Dasa Anudasa Dasa Shmi, the servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the gopis. So, a pure devotee never approaches the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly. The way to approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead is through a devotee. That is the process, and that's also being pointed out by Narad Muni here. And Brahma Samhita also describes that same point in a very wonderful way. That panthastu koti, not by mental speculation and not by acquiring intellectual wisdom, can we approach the realm of devotion. It can be achieved only by the mercy of a devotee. Vedeshu durlabham adurlabham atma bhakto. Brahma Samhita is describing that Krishna, Govinda, is Vedeshu durlabha, but by studying the Vedas or becoming an exponent of the Vedas, one cannot get Krishna. Krishna is rare, durlabh, even through the Vedic wisdom. But adurlabham atma bhakto. But it is not rare for his devotees. Therefore, we have to approach Krishna through his devotees. Therefore, the conclusion of the Vedas, ultimately if we consider what's the conclusion of the Vedas? The conclusion of the Vedas is, don't try to approach Krishna directly, but become surrendered, become submissive to his devotee and try to receive the mercy of the devotees. That is the process. And that is the sign of a pure devotee. Pure devotee always approaches Krishna through his devotees. But a wonderful thing also to note in this respect is that once Prabhupada mentioned that ISKCON, everyone is a pure devotee. And the question automatically rose, some devotees question, Srila Prabhupada, everyone in ISKCON is a pure devotee? Prabhupada said yes. And they pressed on that point, but Prabhupada, what about the new bhaktas and so forth? Prabhupada said, they are also pure devotees. He said, it's only a matter of green mango and ripe mango. The mango may be green, but if it stays in the tree, then in course of time it will become ripe. So somebody may be a green mango now, but if he stays in ISKCON, he will become a ripe mango. He'll become a pure devotee. So the thing to do is just remain in ISKCON and go through the process, because ISKCON is a factory for manufacturing pure devotees. So just remain in ISKCON and go through the process that ISKCON takes you through, and in course of time you'll become a pure devotee. And if we look at it, why Prabhupada said that, like, don't we see in ISKCON, when you come to ISKCON, who do you surrender? When you come to ISKCON, you are actually surrendering to Srila Prabhupada. And then you are surrendering to the system that Prabhupada has designed. Prabhupada has given a very specific structure, a line of authority. So when you submit yourself to the line of authority, who are you submitting to? You are actually submitting to the devotees of Krishna. And in this way, just by remaining in ISKCON, we will become pure, purified. And eventually, we'll be transported to the spiritual sky. And that way also we can see that ISKCON is actually a transcendental vehicle that takes us back to Godhead. Do you all remember that plate picture in the 12th canto? There's a boat in the middle of the material ocean. The material ocean, the ocean of material nature, is filled with all kinds of dangerous aquatics. But there is a boat. And on the mast of the boat, there is a flag saying ISKCON. And on the sail, there is a wind of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And devotees are chanting and dancing on the boat. And Srila Prabhupada is steering the boat. The captain of the boat is Srila Prabhupada. So the safest transport vehicle, boat, to go back to the spiritual sky. Sometimes we think of another example, is that a lift. You may, when you go to America, there are some very tall buildings, like the Empire State Buildings and so forth. And what do you do? Although it is 100 and above stories, you just get into the lift, you just stand in the lift, and the lift takes you to the topmost floor. Without any effort, you find yourself there. So similarly, although the material nature, the spiritual sky is far, far away from the material nature, but if we remain in ISKCON, then someday we'll find ourselves in the spiritual sky. One fine morning or afternoon, we'll find, maybe even at night, during Krishna's rasa dance in the forest of Vrindavan, we'll find ourselves there, transported. How? That's Krishna's arrangement. He will make the arrangement. So at least we know that we have come to the right place, and now it's just a matter of staying in there. Just stay in ISKCON and Prabhupada will make all the arrangements. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Hari. Does anybody have any question? Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, you have mentioned the life story of Narad Muni. Narad Muni in his past life, he was son of a great servant. So if you see, Narad Muni's heart got changed just by serving the sages once. But in our life, we find we are serving the devotee so many times, taking prasad so many times. Then also there is no major change in life, no anartha in life. So what is the
Yes. There are few considerations. One thing is that probably we have a very deep and thick and solid coat of anarthas. So this Chetadarpana Marjanam therefore is taking some time. But doesn't matter. If we keep trying, it will happen. After all, we are the products of Kali Yuga. So it may take some time. But the process works. That's one consideration. Another consideration is that, you see, when we surrender, we simply surrender to Krishna's will. We don't surrender with an attitude, oh Krishna, overnight you must make me a pure devotee. Krishna knows how to use us. Say for example, there is so much to do to spread Krishna consciousness, right? So if we become that kind of pure devotees, then probably we won't like to go to the other places and preach. We'll simply want to go to Radha Kund and sit there and chant Hare Krishna. But Krishna doesn't want us to do that. Krishna wants us to go out and preach. Krishna wants us to go out and achieve all kinds of wonderful things to establish Krishna consciousness in every town and village all over the world. Therefore, Krishna is just using us in an appropriate way. Like if you become, say for example, if you become that kind of pure, then probably you won't like to even talk to anybody. Right? So better you remain impure and continue to serve Krishna. And that is the meaning of surrender. Whatever Krishna wants. Say for example, the flute in Krishna's hand. Krishna just using the flute to play. The flute is not saying that Krishna, why don't you make me a gopi and make me dance with you in rasa dance. He is just, surrendered in Krishna's hand, and Krishna is playing in the most wonderful way. So much so that the gopis are envious of that flute. The gopis are saying, what did this guy do? He's born in a bamboo family, and look, he's getting getting the touch of Krishna's lips constantly, which we are hankering to get. And this character is getting that that good fortune all the time. What did he do? And this is they are not actually envious in that way, in a negative way. They are admiring the good fortune of this flute. So, you see, we will not be able to understand how Krishna is going to engage us or use us. And our condition will be, in whichever way you want, you just engage us. I am simply a surrendered soul to you.
Thank you.
One of the points was Narad Muni developed attachment to the sages. So how can we develop attachment to our authority?
By being gentle in heart, by controlling our senses, by being a good boy.
Today's youth are very much against this concept of bureaucracy or governmental setup of bureaucracy. So when they hear our philosophy, so they see it as bureaucracy, or we sometimes feel. So how to not let this tendency come into?
Good. Very good point. You see, Kali Yuga is completely different from other Yugas. Other Yugas, the dharma was established. Everyone practically was following the path of dharma. And when one was serious about making spiritual advancement and wanted to commit himself completely to the process, then he would leave home, go to the Guru's ashram and practice. Right? But in the age of Kali, what happened is that due to the influence of adharma, that structure of dharma has been totally broken. Therefore, one consideration is to re-establish dharma. Right? And in order to re-establish dharma, especially all over the world, in every town and village, you have to have an institution. Without an institution, it's not going to happen. Right? Like consider, if Prabhupada did not establish ISKCON, soon after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, the influence of Prabhupada, the establishing, what Prabhupada established, would have been lost, isn't it? But because the institution has been established, and Prabhupada gave a very clear structure of authority, the institution is still going strong. And it is only through that institution such a massive work will be accomplished, which is not going to be accomplished by one person's own, just one lifetime. Srila Prabhupada knew that. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur knew that. Bhakti Vinod Thakur knew that. That's why they emphasized on the structure of an institution. And that institution, when there is an institution, it has to be managed in a certain way. Right? When you have so many people, there is a system. You have to implement a system to discipline them, to put them in line. Otherwise, if everyone goes in his own way, then there won't be any. There will be total chaos. So that's why, to kind of achieve what Prabhupada wanted to achieve, he created this institution of ISKCON, and he gave a structure, right? And structure means there is a clear line of authority. And the line of authority that Prabhupada gave is that he is the founder Acharya, GBC is the ultimate managing authority, the temples are the units, and the management structure in the temple is the line of authority that everybody in the temple have to follow. So it may sound like it's like bureaucracy. I mean, what's the harm in bureaucracy? Like if it is designed to achieve a higher purpose, it must be accepted and recognized. Like bureaucracy, bureau means an office actually. So to manage something you need an office, right? And in the office you have to have managers, the people who are going to get the job done. So yes, we need the bureaucracy. We need the authority structure. And those who don't want to accept the authority structure, let them get lost. Let them, if they don't want to accept the authority structure, that means they're the troublemakers. Right? So in a system, in a structure, we can't allow the troublemakers. We have to get rid of the trouble. Either they line up with the authority structure, or we have to weed them out. And I tell you, when Prabhupada was here, the authority structure was very, very clear. It was very clear. And everybody was following that authority structure, whether they like it or not. And I tell you, all those in the authority structure, not all of them were saints. I mean, sometimes senior devotees fought. They got into fist fights. But still the authority structure was there. And after Srila Prabhupada's disappearance, that authority structure has been affected to a great extent, and that's why ISKCON is suffering. Now if we want to revive the spirit of ISKCON, we have to establish that authority structure. Like in an army, can the soldiers be independent, or they have to be disciplined? We have to be disciplined. And it is even more serious than army. ISKCON's business is more serious than an army. So the devotees have to be disciplined. Devotees have to line up. And we see wherever there is system, wherever there is this structure, being followed properly, and the line of authorities is followed and abided by, and the devotees are disciplined, we are seeing they are achieving so much. And I'll give an example. Chopati Temple is such a wonderful example. Isn't it? So be thankful that you have such a wonderful authority structure. And that you all are following it with a very systematic way, in a very, very disciplined manner. And that's why you are achieving so much. But the areas where there is no authority structure, you see what's happening. They spend all their time in front of in the computer, sending out all kinds of disturbing messages to everybody. What are they achieving by doing that? They're simply hurting Srila Prabhupada's movement. They're helping the movement? No. If Prabhupada was here, he would have been furious. And he would have declared, I have nothing to do with all you characters. It's not for them that Srila Prabhupada created ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada created ISKCON for those who are going to be his loyal followers. And Prabhupada pointed out that if you love me, then show your love through your cooperation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
There are people who are worshipping demigods. Did they gain the same mercy of the Lord as recently the
Yeah, demigods are also devotees of the Lord, but they are not pure devotees of the Lord. They are mixed devotees of the Lord. They are called karma mishra bhaktas. Right? And the business of the demigods is to take care of different departments of the universe. And generally, people worship the demigods with the objective of getting some material benefit. So that's why, you see, by worshipping the demigods, one doesn't get the same benefit that one gets by serving a pure devotee. But if one approaches demigods and prays to them that they can receive the mercy of Krishna, then the demigods will offer obeisances to that devotee and say, well, I wish, please bless me that I can develop that mentality. So pure devotees are beyond demigods' situation. So much so that to a pure devotee, the state of liberation, Kaivalya, appears to be like going to hell. The position of Lord Brahma and Indra is like the position of an insect. Brahma Mahendra Dhishna Kitayate. Kita means insect. So to a pure devotee, the position of Brahma and Indra is like the position of an insect. So that is the exalted position of a pure devotee.
Krishna Maharaj, before coming is the program is that we are controller Krishna like that. Before coming is we are already maintain a tendency to be independent of the controller, and when we come to this point, beginning stages, especially for full-time devotees, we have had to surrender complete authority. Sometimes it's difficult, so we can
Yeah, that's why become submissive and gentle in heart and don't be naughty. Yeah, it is difficult, but practice makes a man perfect. That's why we just learn. We try to practice in order to be surrendered. And the thing is, you see, like to be a leader, you have to be a follower first. Without being a follower, you cannot become a leader. Because the leaders then will not consider you to be a qualified candidate. Right? Who the leaders will choose? Like we have a very clear line of authority. Right? Krishna is on top. Right? And then we have our disciplic succession. We have Prabhupada. And in ISKCON, Prabhupada is the personality on top. And then there is an authority structure. If the authority structure is in place, then this authority structure will design the subservient authority structure. Right? So, and who the authorities will select as a qualified candidate. will they select a rebel for a big position in the structure? No. They will, like in a business organization. Now, who do they give promotion to? The people, those who are sold out to the purpose of that institution. So similarly, like we also see, like Prabhupada, who did Prabhupada give positions? Prabhupada gave positions those who achieved for him. Devotees went out and achieved, and Prabhupada gave them position. Prabhupada did not give position because somebody had a big degree. Prabhupada did not give position because someone came from a big family or a wealthy background. No. Prabhupada's consideration was whoever serves, he'll get the position. And that system is still in place. Therefore, if you want to make advancement, that means if you go up higher, then be submissive. That's the secret of success. Hare Krishna. Yes?
Maharaj, we see that there are a few groups of devotees who claim to be followers of Srila Prabhupada, but are not within ISKCON. And there are also some devotees within ISKCON who have been probably since a long time in ISKCON, but not so serious in Krishna consciousness in their practices. So apparently the other devotees, the former, they are much more serious in practice. Their practices are much better. So how do you understand their relative position?
Yeah. Well, you see, in a football match, there is a player who is playing with the team. He may not be such an expert player, but whichever way he plays, it will be counted. But if somebody goes out of the field and dribbles very nicely, shows all his expertise, will it be counted? No. So expert or not, be in ISKCON, then Krishna will count it. If you don't, then no matter how expert you may be, it will not be counted.
Maharaj, sometimes we get the position and we get puffed up. And the president and so on, so in the organization of ISKCON. So how to keep ourselves, very on the ground level and do the service very hard to many people?
Well, nice question, because I myself sometimes go through that anomaly. But when I start reading Prabhupada's books, then my understanding becomes clear. So the best way is to just keep reading Prabhupada's books and remain in the association of devotees. But more powerful than even the association of devotees is, in this respect, is reading Prabhupada's books. When we read Prabhupada's books, then what happens? We become reminded that all this in this material platform, all that is happening in the material platform, all the position, all the adoration, all the aggrandizement, they are transient, they are temporary, they are meaningless. What really matters is our loyalty to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. So all that matters is the humble state of mind. All that matters is that we cultivate the spiritual qualities. What's the point in getting big position when, if we lose our spiritual qualities, if we lose our spiritual life? And unfortunately, there had been many examples in ISKCON. There had been many big individuals in big positions, but when they became puffed up, they fell down. Now, do we want to follow their footsteps? No. Rather, let's learn our lesson from that. This is not to be done. This is not to be imitated. Let us maintain a humble position and serve Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Hare.